Well, hello everybody out there in YouTube land. This is Jay Kloddick again. Thought I'd give you an update on my 1/350th Enterprise and where I'm at. I'm currently involved in the start of priming the model, and also I've just finished masking off the windows on it, both the saucer and the secondary hull. Now, as you can see, it's lit, but if you look close at the saucer, you notice there's no lights coming from it. That's because I have completely primered the saucer, masked off all the windows, and did a pretty good job taking care of the light leaks. How good a job? Well, let me shut off some lights and I'll show you. Now, if you take a good look at the secondary hull, you'll notice there's a bit of glow coming from it. Primary hull, you might be able to see some lights on the edges of the windows on the saucer, but you're not seeing light coming from anywhere else. So I've still got to do that to the secondary hull. Let me turn a light on her too. Still got to do that with the secondary hull. Even though my silver internal paint technique did a good job of minimizing the light leaks, there are still some that I've got to take care of. So what I've been doing is I tried a technique on the saucer which worked really well. First thing I did was I sprayed, after masking off all the windows, I sprayed on Tamiya TS-30 silver leaf spray paint, same color that I'm using on the inside. I basically sprayed it around areas that I did notice the light leaks on. Then after that was dry, I went ahead and went over it with a gray primer. There's actually a couple areas where I've gone over in silver again. Reason being is that the seam on the edge of the saucer, it's the biggest seam on the model, and it took a bit of work to true it up and blend it in really nice. Used some filler putty there and ended up sanding through the primer coats. So what I had to do was I had to rebuild the paint layer back up again. I tried doing it with just primer, but I still had a couple of light leaks, so the idea of using the silver paint instead worked out really well to plug the light leaks. And a couple of these areas that I did spray silver over the top, I'll probably just go over with primer again just to make sure the surface is nice and level. It's one of the reasons I like using the Tamiya paints, is that they are lacquer based, and so therefore they give you a much stronger bond than enamel based paints. But other things you'll notice about the masking is, well, bridge dome here. That's the smoke tinted dome. I just applied it there, and it's just being primered over. I'll pop that dome off when I get to the paint after the majority of the paint work is done, and replace it with either the clear one or the white one, depending on what type of looks I'm getting. Navigation beacons on the upper and lower saucer. The ones on the upper saucer, I used a liquid mask from a company called Bob Dively. It's like a liquid latex material, and I brushed a couple layers over the top. Hopefully it'll come off clean. I've never had very good luck with liquid masks, but I'm thinking these should come off okay. But if I have to, I could probably scrape the paint and the primer off and get it back to a high shine. Now the smaller domes, the smaller navigation lights, the red and green navigation lights, I just popped those domes off, and I replaced them with these little round pegs, which are the cut down tips off of old micro brushes. They've got a slight cone appearance to them, So therefore they fit in the hole really nice, and they key in very, very well. As they widen out, they fit into the hole better. So those are going to stay in there until the paintwork is also done, and once everything's complete, I'll pop these out and glue the dome pieces in with microcrystal clear. The edge window masks, all the rectangular windows, the vast majority of those have been masked with the window masking set created by Aztek Dummy. Round windows and square windows. I was originally going to use just normal Tamiya tape cut down, or Izu tape, but the Aztek Dummy masks are nice and pre-cut. The sizing is not 100% perfect for all windows. Some of the windows I did go ahead and replace with, I did go ahead and mask with Tamiya tape, but the Aztek Dummy set is quite a time saver. It's got other things as well that should make masking the rest of the model go pretty easy. I did go ahead and temporarily tack on the rear nacelle end caps with microcrystal clear. That way I can keep them on during primering and pop them off when it comes time to do detail painting. This made it a lot easier to mask elements of the model and not have to worry about putting a lot of masking tape back here or any. Let's talk a little about the bussard collectors. Now, one of the things I'm trying to do with this build is make it so I have the ability to access the motors or the electronics inside the warp engines. And if you glue the nacelle fronts on, not going to be able to do that. But I found a pretty slick way to get these mounted without having to necessarily permanently glue them on. Take the dome off. Come on. If I can get it off. There we go. Ta-da! What I've done is I've glued on these little sync reactors. I can't remember what the heck these things are called. But what I did was I basically taped the nacelle front to the engine really, really tight and in position, and then added these three strip parts. They've got little bumps in them because they key onto little tabs on the nacelle, on the main body of the nacelle itself. And the only area where I applied the glue was on the very front. And as a result, I have the ability to actually slot these on and off, and they self-key in really, really nice. The alignment is not 100% perfect right here, so I'm probably going to still use a little bit of microcrystal clear to make sure everything fits on okay. But the rest of that assembly, it's nice and tight, and I shouldn't have to get in there unless I have to replace an electric motor or something. I really like how that turned out. So what is next for this model? Well, as I said, saucer and nacelles are pretty much primered. Primer coat is used to highlight defects as well as level out the surface for paint, so there's still a couple minor areas that I got to fill on the warp nacelles, but things are going well. Once I'm done uploading this video, I'm going to tackle the secondary hull next and get that primered. Only other assemblies left that have to be primered after that will be the warp pylons. I'll be painting this model in sub-assemblies, saucer, secondary hull, etc. Mainly because this model is so big I can't really fit it into my painting area. all that easily. But I'm prepared to do that. The beauty of it is, too, is it looks like I don't have to worry about filling too many seams. I'm not going to worry about filling seams from the secondary hull to the pylons or the warp nacelles, because it looks like those parts were designed to be pulled off in storage anyway, so there would be a seam. Probably the only seam I'm going to worry about is the secondary hull to neck pylon attachment, because it looks like that was at one time glued permanently on the studio model. But the saucer, I'll leave it like that. I like the fact that I can access the electronics really nice. I haven't even glued on the bridge dome yet, partly because I'm still working on some touch-ups on the inside bridge. But the beauty of it is the circuit board sits right under the bridge dome, so I have the ability to pull this off and access any of the plugs if I need to do any electronics troubleshooting. After primering, only other thing will be I'm still working on coming up with a slick wiring setup going from the display base into the secondary hull. I want to put in some sort of a quick disconnect so I can transport this model easier. Other thing too is I've got a hole drilled in the stand. I've got a round rocker switch that's going to go right there. Plus, I've also tapped a smaller hole for electrical, for the electrical hookup as well. But the stand, rather than leaving it black, I'm actually going to paint it up like one of the planets that you see the Enterprise orbiting in the credit scenes. There's a couple favorites I've got that I'm going to try to do with an airbrush. I mean, I had very good luck doing that when I was doing my Constellation, doing the Doomsday Machine Maw, and I want something that's a little more eye-catching than just a black display base. But anyway, that's where I'm at. As soon as I get all the primering done and the electronics taken care of, it's on to paint and detailing. I've got the weathering decals with the deluxe accessory kit that I got from Polar Lights. I haven't 100% decided if I'm going to use the weathering decals or if I'm actually going to do a bit more freeform weathering. I'm probably going to use a combination of both. Use the decals where they're best and do some pastel chalk weathering as well. But next update, shouldn't have to wait too long for that. I'm making rapid progress, and I'm trying to get this model done for a contest in July, plus also the IPMS Nationals in Loveland, Colorado, where I hope to take this, where I plan to take this model and see if it'll do well there. But I'm having a lot of fun with this model. It's big, but none of the challenges I've encountered are what I would classify as insurmountable. It's coming along really well. So, I'll talk to you later. Until next time, thank you for watching.